It's 4 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started. I asked a couple of things for you from you. Please turn off your cell phones. But I'm going to ask Vice Chairman Shaw to open us with prayer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, accept our thanks again today for just bringing us here together and giving us the opportunity to work together. We ask you to grant us the wisdom and the good guidance from you to make the right decisions for the state of Georgia, and just continue to be with us as we go about the rest of our day. We ask these things in your heavenly name. Amen.
Thanks, sir. We've got a couple of bills to look at today. They were in subcommittee this past Tuesday. So I'll ask Chairman Shaw, who is Chairman of Administration and Licensing, he can go on down and start his give a report on the outcome of the 2 votes in subcommittee this past Tuesday, and then he'll start presenting his bill 103.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subcommittee did meet Tuesday, and we passed out both of these bills unanimously, House Bill 103 and also House Bill, what was the other, 198? And would you want me to go ahead and present 103?
Please, sir.
House Bill 103 is the same bill that we passed out last year that we didn't get through the rules in the Senate, so we ran out of time dealing with discretionary group life. Simply, this bill just brings the life insurance provision on the groups and the regulations as to what qualifies as a group. It brings it in line with what we're already doing with health insurance. And like you know, a lot of people, the only life insurance they have, unfortunately, is the little bit of life insurance that they get that's attached to their group health policy. And so the way we do the group health, the insurance commissioner has the authority to grant approval of a group as a discretionary group. A good example would be a large church congregation that meets all the participation and the size limits that qualify for most carriers to grant them and offer them a group life policy. So this basically just does the same thing with the life insurance that we're already doing with the health, and allows for the group, not discretionary group, subject to the insurance commissioner's approval. And this is actually what this is this came about as a nationwide study from the American Council of Life Insurers about 5 years ago, and Georgia will be number 49 of the states to do this. So just kind of brings us in line with what everybody else is doing, and that's really it. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions? Number 18. Identify yourself and
Representative Hawkins. I noticed that the 75% has been marked out here on these what is that, line 38? Does that mean that no longer applies?
Well, that's dealing with the dependent portion.
Yeah.
So, you know, used to you had so many, the admin costs and all affiliated with this, that you wanted to get enough participation.
Right.
You're still going to have participation requirements on the employee portion. But on the dependents, you know, you don't want to say, well, you can't get the policy because not enough of you signed up your spouses. And since all this is so automated anymore, you know, most carriers have gone away from requiring that participation requirement on the spouses, on the dependents.
Okay.
So that's in Section 2.
But so for employees, though, the 75% rule is still in place?
Well, the carriers actually are going to be the ones that decide what their participation limits are.
Right.
On the health side, you've got federal regulations that apply to that says right. You can only have, you have to have those certain participation limits, and then you've got, people that are covered elsewhere. Mm-hmm. It's almost like, it's like they don't count against your participation. But yeah, you're still going to have those on the employee portion.
I'm just learning because as a dentist, I could not get group health insurance for my employees. Right. Because the judge's wife is an employee, state health benefits, mm-hmm. and they do penalize them $50 a month if she said no to my policy and kept the judge's policy. Then the state, they charge them $50 a month. Each person I ran into said, they checked with their husband's insurance, and sure enough, everybody was going to penalize them, so I could not buy group insurance in my dental office. So that's the reason I'm asking the question.
Right.
I'm learning from you.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good question.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir. Chairman Meadows.
Outside, 75% of eligible, 50% of all.
As the man says, he does know.
It's hard to get. You'll be in participation if you have a group of two and one signs up. That's 50% of all.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Chairman Maxwell.
Line 13, it talks about the groups as described in paragraphs 1 through 10, which we don't have here. Does this refer to cafeteria plans that sell maybe a little life insurance too? I'm not sure exactly what this discretionary groups is.
Line 13.
Yeah, it talks about as issued to a group other than the one described in paragraphs 1 through 10, which.
Oh yeah, what that's talking about is in the law there's the other type of groups. There's 10 other types of groups that are already eligible for group insurance. And this would add another being the discretionary groups.
Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none or hearing none, waiting for a motion. A motion do pass. Here a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed like sign. Chairman Meadows would. Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The next bill is House Bill 198, and I'm going to turn the meeting over to Representative Shaw and let him conduct it while I present this bill.
And the next bill is House Bill 198, and Chairman Smith to present the bill.
Thank you, sir. House Bill 198 is a bill that's addressing the issues of navigators. Navigator is someone on the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare that would assist someone who is uninsured to go through the process, not only the mechanical process and the technical process of the exchange, but also provide some information on health care. The primary or almost the sole purpose of this piece of legislation is to ensure that the individuals who are serving as navigators are trained. You'll see on lines beginning probably line 34 where it talks about they'll be licensed through the commissioner. He has several criteria that he has to look at, either through if you have current experience or training, then you could qualify, or you could go through the training process, have to be a certain age. Then you also have to have continuing ed classes in order to maintain your license. Then probably another big item is on line 61, excuse me, where it says no navigator shall solicit or assist any person or business. They're not allowed to sell. They're only advisors.
Are you talking from the substitute?
No, I'm going from the original. We'll get to, I'll go through the substitute when I explain what that's going to do. And then line 63, where it says no navigator shall receive any commission. All of this, all their payment comes from the federal government. I assume most of y'all are looking at the substitute, so I'll go ahead and tell you what the changes are in there.
All right.
So, since you're messing me up here. My legislative counsel jumped ahead of me. On line 33, there's another group of people out there who are currently called navigators. HHS is not going to change the name navigator. So what we've done, we have put line 33, patient navigator. These are individuals to give you an example, to say that you go to an oncologist and you find out that you have cancer. This individual helps you navigate through all the testing that you may be required to do, hospital visits, all this kind of stuff to assist you. So this act has nothing to do with that group. And you'll see a little later on where they are excluded from this particular bill because they're not the navigators that this particular bill is referring to. There's one other little change that I'm proposing to you, and it's on line 65 of the substitute, where it says no navigator shall solicit or assist. I'm recommending that the or assist be striked. They can't solicit, but they don't know when the person comes in if they already have insurance or not. But their primary purpose is to work with people who do not have insurance. I'll be glad to answer any question you may have.
Are there any questions? What number are you, Ben?
Mr. Chairman, just a quick question. These folks that we're talking about, the navigators, they're not state employees,
No,
right? They're independent folks who may be paid by the federal government.
They are paid by the federal government. They have no state. This just ensures that those who fall under the Affordable Care Act, the navigator portion who works with exchanges, that you just don't hire somebody off the street. You know, they have to be trained in order to make recommendations and work through the exchange process.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Number 9.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
you may have mentioned it. I'm just flipping through it real quick. What's the penalty for this?
We don't have a penalty in this. That'd probably be up to the insurance commissioner because unless they have the license and meet the requirements, they're committing fraud. Does Mr. Meadows have a question?
Chairman Meadows?
It puts them under the same guidelines that any other agent would be under. This is purely protection for the people of the state of Georgia. Y'all know in past history sometimes that you've heard horror stories about some agents and what they do and what they represent. And that's why you have to go through all the training now and the continuing education so that you are qualified in the eyes of the Department of Insurance. And these people would come under the same penalties, loss of license. In some cases, I have 2 friends that went to jail, so that lets you know that they can be pretty tough. Maybe they weren't friends.
Former friends.
Jailbirds are not my friends. My ex-friend.
Thank you.
Didn't know him at all, did he?
Representative Chairman Maxwell.
Yeah, Chairman Meadows is not my friend. I think I understand exactly what you're saying, Mr. Chairman. Basically, the only addition in the committee substitute is lines 33 through 36, that patient navigator portion. That's the only portion that was added on there, I believe. Is that correct?
That is correct as far as the definition of the patient navigator. But if you go to line 99, that provision says this article shall not apply to patient navigators as was defined.
Okay. And then that other change on 60.
The other change on
line
65, the or assist would be removed.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Are there any other questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Got a motion and a second. All right, got a motion and a favor. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? No? All right, motion passes with the amendment to substitute bill to House Bill 198.